head coach at San Jose State. We're in the 110 hurdles. He ran on my summer team. So we did some big things in the summertime, and it all spilled over into my high school because I coached football and track. So I did it year round. So I just wanted to kind of keep that name buzzing, keep my name buzzing as a young black coach. I was one of the youngest black coaches in the state of California. So I wanted to take that platform, being from the inner city myself, and give young men that look like me and women an opportunity to, further their education by using sports as a vehicle.
Good stuff, Coach. Good stuff. Let me ask you this, Coach. What was your philosophy back then? Did you have you had the horses. I mean, you had the elite athletes. Did you have a certain type of philosophy, whether it be was training or anything like that?
It's funny you say that because now I kind of live by it. I didn't word it then, but I have this saying that I use right now. It's called all facts, no fluff. So everything with me is facts. There's no fluff in it. I'm not going to be the dude telling you 100 stories that's not true. I remember being a young man, used to always listen to the older guys, and they would always have a story. And you'd be like, oh, man, how much of this is real? How much of this is fluff? So
I believe you, Coach.
I want to give you all the facts. Even my good friend, Jeff Anderson, he's with the Cleveland Browns now coaching, and I used to coach him. And he's like, oh, give me a story. Like, man, what you trying to say? See, every time you talk, you got a story. So I wanted to make sure my stories had a lot of facts in them. I didn't want no fluff. I didn't want to exaggerate. I didn't want to give them false hope. I wanted them to see that there was a hope factor in everything you do. Everything you do, you can influence people, younger people. Like I say, while Nnamdi was playing and training with me for the NFL Combine, Nnamdi Asomugha, first-round draft pick, went to Cal.
Yep.
He trained at McClymonds High School and the Oakland YMCA. We didn't go to no XOs or no big pretty facility. We trained at my high school and the downtown Oakland YMCA. And he went first round. And ironically, he went to the Oakland Raiders. So he stayed right there. But watching that, you had young men like my quarterback, Kyle Reed, which ended up being an Elite 11 quarterback in 2004. And then a young man that was my ball boy, Marcus Peters, is looking up to that. He's seeing that. He's seeing that live and like, hey, I can do that too. So you just wanted to create what I call a hope factor for these young men and women that if they can do it and they can achieve that and train with less. We was training with less. Nnamdi just sent me a text yesterday because I texted him his a picture of him on Twitter, and they was talking about the best DBs in the 2000s. And his response was, yes, that's when I was eating peanut butter and jelly, because I had a little snack I used to use how to help him gain weight. We would eat top ramen and peanut butter and jelly. There was no extra protein powders and all that. No, we was old school. It was go in the kitchen, go make you some top ramen, get you a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That's your snack, So we had all kind of little things we would do, and it worked. He ended up running a 4.3 40 and doing, and then went first round to the Raiders. So it was just me knowing what I wanted to do and how I wanted to affect these young men and women. And he was one of the ones that believed in me and gave me opportunity, because from that, a lot of people start believing in me, like, Zoe must know what he's doing. He got Nnamdi Asomugha training at McClymonds High School. We had a dirt track and a grass field and the Oakland YMCA. So that was our training facility, and it was a blessing. I was young, I was hungry, I just wanted to prove who I was. And then the track club was just a cherry on the top, because we would go every summer, and he ended up even sponsoring us when we went to the Junior Olympics up in Seattle. When I had DJ Williams and Albert Hollis on my team, which Albert went to Georgia, DJ went to Miami, obviously.
Yep.
But those guys were my 15, 16-year-olds. I had the biggest 15, 16-year-old intermediate team in the state. They was like, let me check the birth certificate. Oh, yeah, because DJ been big since high school. DJ was huge, running 10-800s in the 10th grade.
Hey, that dude, I heard some legendary stories.
Oh, yeah,
I've heard many people say he was one of the best players in high school ever.
DJ was no joke, and he played his ass off. He was played hard, real dedicated, good brother. Invited me to the national championship game when they played at the Rose Bowl, when they beat Nebraska when he was at Miami. So I just been blessed to be around a lot of positive people that believed in me and gave me an opportunity to train with them, because they went to other schools. So when they would come all together, you talking about some practice, oh man, them practices was off the hook. We would practice and they would go at it, and you would just be the best against the best. Iron sharpening iron, and that's what it was always about. And when them guys would come from Long Beach and Pasadena and all that, They would come stay at my house, and we would go run the lake and go run the hills and all kind of stuff. And we would train. And it didn't stop once they went to college. When they would come on for summer, once they were in college, they still would come back and work out with me.
Wow. So, coach, now I love this, man. So you young, you're making a name for yourself, getting it out the mud. Did you get like as far as your athletic acumen to say we're gonna run this way, we're gonna do this, we're gonna work out this way? Like, did you draw any knowledge from somebody else, coach, or was that all something
Yes.
you was creating?
No. I had my biggest influence on me in the track was my brother Clyde Turner. Clyde Turner was the head track coach at John Muir High School, and they were legendary. Clyde is one of the best track coaches in the history that have ever been around. And then I also had the luxury of being coached by Coach Willie White. God rest his soul. Willie White coached Berkeley High School, was one of the best track coaches in the state of California, one of the best track coaches in the country. So he had a lot of legendary teams, and I took a little bit of him and a little bit of what Clyde was doing. And then my track coach, when I was in high school, Paul Cotton, I learned a lot from them, and I said, okay, how can I bring all this together? How can I take this knowledge and this information that I have and turn this into something special? So first thing first was my high school team, McClymonds High School. We went to the state. I won 9 section championships in a row coaching track. And then we in 99, we did something that has never been done since. We won all 13 running events in a section final. A section final. I'm talking about the mile, the 2 mile, the hurdles, 100, 200. We won all 13 running events in a section final. And
dominating.
And then we end up being 3rd in the state on the men's side of it as a team. So we had a legitimate team, and I just wanted to take all this different knowledge and information that I was getting and just creating something that was special. And I had a lot of people that was older than me kind of poking at me. Coach Scott was over at Encinal High School. He gave me a lot of knowledge. Mike Wilson from Vallejo High School, he had some great teams with Ali Evans and all those guys. So I Coach Lawson at St. Mary's High School. So there was a lot of good track teams prior, and a lot of those track coaches were also football coaches. So I was like, how do you marry it together? How do you get the football players to want to run track? And back then it was big. It wasn't no people not running because they were specializing in a certain sports or doing 7-on-7 and not participating. So it was a year-round thing, and it was beautiful. And a lot of them coaches that were around me, they kind of gave me come on, youngster, let me see what you got. I'm a coach from Pittsburgh, Billy Ray, Coach Evers. He gave me this thing I used to do called a trampoline workout. We used to do workouts on the trampoline and do all kind of different stuff. So I had a lot.
Talk about that a little bit, Coach. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, I seen somebody. It was funny because I was just watching somebody on ESPN or something. And they was talking about this workout they're doing on the trampoline, like they invented it. Man,
that probably was the basketball player Ja Morant.
Man, we was doing that in the 90s, brother. Because up here in the Bay, it rains. So in order for us to keep up with Southern California, that song by Tony, "It Never Rains in Southern California," that's real. So it don't rain down there. So we used to have to kind of make up, how can we stay in shape and balance? So we would work out in the hallways, and I would create these 60-second interval workouts on a small trampoline. And you would run with weights. I would have the little weights in your hand, and I would create training days on a trampoline, and it would whoop them. We would do jump ropes and trampoline workouts. I was doing that in the 90s, brother. So all these cats that's late to the party, I should